Welcome back to Delta Hands. As a graduate student, Colleen Ferry studied the history of message painters. She continues, much like a songwriter, to lyrically tell stories on canvas.
A painting is three things. A painting is what I bring to the canvas. Then it is what happens as I do the canvas, because there's always a further step. And then it's what the viewer brings to the canvas. And that's three separate things. But it's all the same thing. So it must always be good art. But it has a punch if you can get your message across. I love to put a picture up there that looks like a picture, but I really like to mess with your mind. I paint for me. I paint them because they're there and they have to get out. I suppose if there is soul music, then I suppose I'm more like a soul painter, because I'm not about to do a landscape. Or and when I got through painting nudes for 2 years, you know, I didn't care if I never did another person to look exactly like that. And very quickly in painting the nudes, it was so boring to paint yet another naked person that I began to distort the anatomy, and that was very interesting to me. And it makes a very powerful comment. And for instance, when I was doing nudes, I cut one off right at the neck so that you saw just her torso, and then cut an elbow off. And that makes you sit on edge. It adds a tension to the painting that you, and just finding out all of these little things and what they do are very interesting to me. Sometimes it's so easy. It just goes from the thought to a little sketch to the larger drawing to the canvas, and it goes so fast. And other times it is just excruciatingly painful. And there's a whole lot of work that has to happen. And I don't think I understand that. I don't know how to talk about that. It is to really know what I'm saying. And I do that with series. You know, I'm going to paint 16, 20 paintings to explore this thought, this concept, and this thesis. And so sometimes it's a real struggle to go from where I began to the end of it. And to get there is a spiritual journey. And then each painting becomes a stop on the way. From speaking from a technical standpoint, I love the lyrical line. The geometric shape is just not my thing, but I love the lyrical line, and that's always there. I absolutely love color and what it does. I think it's something that was part of me, perhaps always. I have a good eye for color. I didn't know that everybody didn't. It's like a good ear. I have a good ear for music. I know I can tell the difference between the flats and the sharps and the whole and the note. But also I can tell the slight variation in shade of color, and I know how you got that, usually. Particularly after all these years of mixing paint. And that certain colors placed next to each other will just set up a drumbeat, and others will be very peaceful, and I use all of that without getting too philosophical or moral, or maybe it is very philosophical. There are those rainy days, there are those deaths, there are those really hard times. And then of course there's, if you're having dinner for 12 people, you have to cook. You know, there's all of those confining things, but my goodness, the spirit soars. And that's where, to me, the fun is, and that's where the hope is, and that's where every human being has within the self the ability to be more than they are today, to always advance. and I enjoy work, and I think many of us do. Work is very satisfying, and it's a necessary part of life. But then the journey to expand our horizons, our possibilities, is a spiritual one. And when I can do something, and my art comes from my spirit, when I can put that on canvas, and then somebody else comes and they see it from their spirit, unless they're too inhibited or too warped by society, which happens, but then something else happens, and if I can communicate, then that's success. That's what I live for.
Next on Delta Hands, we'll visit a lifelong Baton Rougean who shows us the simple elegance of our hometown.